Hey guys, welcome back to the Not Only Carrots cooking show. I'm Leah and today I'll be preparing for you the coconut fruitcake. Last week on Instagram I posted a photograph of this delicious oil-free coconut fruitcake that my daughter Eden and I had prepared together. It was so delicious and we got such a lot of comments and people saying, yes, I want to see a cooking show about this. So this one is for you. I'll walk you through the ingredients, but before we do that, remember, get your oven preheated 140 degrees Celsius. My wonderful husband Ben will make the Fahrenheit pop up here for you, for those of you in America. This is mostly whole foods, which is exciting. I love whole food recipes. We have 1 cup of stone ground whole wheat flour, a cup of desiccated coconut, 3/4 of a cup of mixed fruit. Today I've chosen dried dates and dried apricots, and a 1/2 cup of sultanas. Then you're going to have your liquid sweeteners. So we have 1/4 cup of rice malt syrup and 1/4 cup of maple syrup. If you are a vegan, you can use 1/2 cup of honey instead of those sweeteners. Then you'll need 1 cup of a vegan milk. Today I've chosen soy milk, but it works really nicely with rice milk as well. You'll also need a cake tin, not too big, not too small, and you'll need a little bit of oil to hold your baking paper or your lining paper onto the tin because it doesn't have oil in it and it'll stick really badly if you don't use baking paper. All right, so let's get all these ingredients in and I'll just show you how easy it is. I actually found this recipe a long time ago and veganized it and found that I called it the 1-1-1 recipe. So you have your 1 cup of your coconut, your 1 cup of your flour, your 1 cup of your milk. Oh yes, I forgot to mention you do need baking powder, 2 teaspoons of that. That'll make sure we get our cake rising. Once you have your coconut, your flour and baking powder in there, I won't use my spatula, I'll use my spoon. Just stir that together to make sure the baking powder is evenly throughout your flour, and that way it will rise evenly as well. All right, along to that now we'll put in our dried fruit. There we are, and our sultanas. Now, as a little treat, if you perhaps don't like sultanas or you just want to have something a little different, you can substitute in vegan chocolate chips or vegan carob chips for those sultanas. Stir that fruit in so it's actually covered with the flour, and this prevents clumping when it is cooking. So you won't get a big clump of sultanas or a clump of apricots. It allows them to break apart and be evenly distributed. Now we're going to add our sweeteners first before the milk. The milk, because it's cold, actually causes the sweetener to want to sort of hold together and not go throughout the mixture. I'm sure there's a technical way to say that, but that's how I'm going to say it. Here we are, our rice malt syrup. Rice malt syrup is actually not a very sweet sweetener, which is actually one of the reasons I really like it. I get a bit sweeted out if I have too much sweet stuff, but if you really like sweet things, then just use all maple syrup. And if you don't have any liquid sweetener, don't freak out. You can replace those sweeteners with Rapadura or sugar if that's what you'd like to use. Stir your sweetener through just slightly so that it's not in a ball in the middle, and then add to that your vegan milk, just straight in. It's such an easy recipe, it's so fast. I love the fact that it doesn't have oil. It's actually just accidentally oil-free, and that's it, literally. That is the cake, I'm done. So that's the consistency you'll get to. I accidentally doubled the sweetener the other day when I was cooking with my daughter, and it still worked, even though it was a little bit, it wasn't soggy, but it was a little more moist than it normally would be. Okay, I wanted to just quickly give you a demonstration before I pop this in the pan of how to chop up your own fruit if you don't buy, say, a dried medley of fruit from the shops. It can be cheaper to do it yourself, and yeah, this is how I do it. So dried date, I just slice it once down the middle and then in half. So they just go into quarters. So I'll just throw those little babies in there. And dried apricot, today I'm using the Turkish ones because they're really nice and fat and lovely and juicy. So I cut it down the middle and then I cut it into 6ths. So 6 little pieces for that one, really easy. It's probably the most time consuming part of the preparation, actually just chopping the things up. I have tried before in case someone has a Thermomix and they think, oh, maybe you could just chop it in that. I've tried, maybe you'll be able to figure it out, but I find that particularly with the dates, because they're soft, they tend to just spread over the Thermomix and it's not as nice. I prefer it more chunky like this. Okay, now let's get our baking dish baking dish, baking tin ready now. I like to use a little bit of oil in the bottom of that to hold that baking paper on. So once we've sliced up our baking paper, I'll show you how to do that. What you want to do is you're going to be drawing around your tin with a pen that I don't have. Just a second. All right, just get my Sharpie. All right, draw around your tin. You can draw it on the edge and not waste baking paper like I just did. Sorry, oil. And very easy. You got your circle. We're going back to the kindergarten days. Now cut around the circle. Be very careful not to wreck your circle. Doesn't have to be that specific, but get the base covered, and then we're going to measure out our sides. Now, I find it frustrating having to put baking paper and line, you know, my tins and things like that, but anytime I've been really lazy and thought, nah, I'll just use extra oil in the tin, it's always backfired and you end up having to scrape and bash and try and get this poor little cake out of there, and yeah, don't do it. Spend the extra couple of minutes, get it done, and then it'll just be really good at the end. Okay, so this is now perfect size to fit. Where'd it go? Ah, got it, okay. This is a perfect size to fit in the bottom of our tin now. Here we go. Got a little bit of oil, and I'll break off a little bit of that baking paper, and I can actually just use that just to spread around the tin. And that way it will actually hold on the baking paper. My hair is going crazy. Okay, here we go. All right, voila. So now let's get our sides going. I will actually utilize a bit of this so I don't waste it. There are some companies that do aluminium-free baking paper. I've never gotten sort of too concerned about it, but if you want to look into that, you could. And I think there's even some companies that do reusable types as well. So I don't know, check it out. Check it out. Might be something that interests you. All right, this cake doesn't rise a lot. It does rise, but it's not going to come over the top of this pan. So don't be too worried if your paper's not coming up, you know, too high. It just needs to be enough just to cover the basic parts of the tin there. There you go. There we go, I didn't waste much baking paper at all. One little square. Pop him in there. Oh, we'll go sideways. There we are. See, it doesn't have to look pretty. It's just got to hold your cake. And this is a really easy way. That way we didn't waste our paper and it's ready for our mixture. So, we'll start with a wooden spoon, then I'll transfer to my spatula. For anyone who hasn't got a spatula, you are totally missing out. Spatulas are so awesome. You'll never miss any of your mixture going in. My kids found it very sad though when I bought spatulas because it meant they couldn't lick the bowl very much. So I actually now intentionally leave the mixture in there. And yes, I'm short. I am on my tippy toes to try and get this out of the tin. Stop judging me. Okay, here we go. We have an episode actually coming called Stop Judging. It's got nothing to do with being short though. All right, get the last little bit, get that spatula in there. Tippy toes. Okay, here we go. Out you come, plop out. Okay, voila, here we go, there's the cake. All good, ready to go in the oven now. Mine's already preheated, so I'm just gonna pop that in. It will cook for roughly 50 minutes. Keep an eye on it. You want it to be golden brown on top, and then it will be just yummy. It cooks for 50 minutes because it's a dense cake, but it is delicious. So let's pop this in. All right, just pop it on the middle rack, and we'll leave it now. And when it comes out of the oven, when it's ready for you to serve it, it's beautiful with soy whipped cream. Follow the link up there, and it's actually our most viewed video from last year. Thousands of views, and it just, I don't know, just kind of hit a, what is a hit? Hits a mark. it's a thing with people, they liked it. And yeah, it's really yummy. And this cake, because it is so healthy, as I mentioned before, it's a healthy thing that you can eat as a light meal at night if you don't want to load up on a heavy meal, or you can even pop it in the kids' lunchbox for school. Okay guys, I'll pop back in 1 second flat with a cooked cake. 50 minutes for me, I have to wait for real time, and we'll show you how it turned out. Okay, I have to admit, I kind of cheated. This cake is actually cooled down already, but I wanted to show you how easy it is to get it out of your tin without making a big mess. Make sure that once your cake is ready, you give it about 10 minutes at least on the bench just to cool down so that it doesn't fall apart when you try and get it out of your tin. So here's the trick to get it out. Grab a plate, or you can use a breadboard. Flick your cake upside down, and it literally pops right out of there. Peel off your little pieces of baking paper and get another plate, a serving plate or a board as before. Flip it over and voila, there you go. That's the easy way to get it onto a serving plate. As you can see, my cake is a sort of a deep chocolate brown. I forgot that my oven actually cooks a little bit hot, and I have an oven thermometer coming in the mail to make sure that it's correct. But 140 degrees, when your oven's actually 140 degrees, 50 minutes is perfect. But keep an eye on it from 45 minutes onwards, and it should be sort of more of a golden honey color on top. But this will still taste really nice. And that's the good thing with these cakes, because it cooks slowly, it doesn't actually burn, you know, a couple extra minutes is not going to burn it. So now we'll just serve out a piece. It is a lovely and rich, dense cake, you can see. So there you are. It's our lovely coconut fruit cake. And here's a bit of soy whipped cream I prepared earlier. I added a little extra soy milk to this recipe the other day, just so it was more of a runny soy whipped cream. Drizzle it over the top. And if you have it regular, you can just dollop it on, plop it on there. And there you go. So that is our yummy coconut fruit cake. I hope that you have enjoyed this recipe. I know that we've enjoyed it, and we're going to enjoy this one too. And make sure you do leave a comment below and suggest perhaps some other vegan recipes or some regular recipes you want me to veganize for the coming shows in our 2019 series. Make sure you like, subscribe, share this video with your friends, guys, and we will see you in the next video. Bye!